So we're going to head right into the month starting on the 3rd. Okay. And this is a new moon week. So we're going to have the new moon in Gemini, which means that the sun and the moon are together, right, at 16 degrees. And, you know, I feel like every month I get on this video and I'm like, nothing's balanced right now because nothing is balanced. Everything is still really scrunched together. It's going to start to kind of dissipate more. Like when I started to look at the end of the month of June, I start to notice that the planets are starting to separate out a little bit. But we're going to have on the new moon on the 6th, I'm using my cheat sheet here. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planets in the sign of Gemini. Right? That's a lot. That is called a stellium. When you have 3 or more planets together, we have 5.
Wow.
So what do you think about that? I mean, talk about a lot of Gemini.
Busy.
Busy. Multitasking like crazy.
Multitasking. Yeah, you're going to be talking to everyone.
Yeah, because Mercury, the planet of communication, will be in its own sign of Gemini. So
that's
it works
one of the planets. Okay.
Really well there, right? Yeah. And it's really close to the sun. So then you've got the sun and the moon together, and then the moon is at the same degree as Venus in Gemini. So it's going to be fun.
Nice.
I personally think if you're single, it's going to be time to mingle, right? Like Gemini, I think they're always bouncing around, such social creatures. Yep. So this could be a fun and exciting time for you single people.
Right.
So
new moon,
right, placing our order about what we want on the new moon. And you know, the last new moon we had was in Taurus and Venus was involved. There's a lot of Venus going on. This time Venus is still involved because it's right there, same degree as the moon. Now, this new moon happens on Thursday the 6th, but the whole week will kind of be leading up to that.
Do water out Thursday night, like you said.
Yeah, I even do it like a day or two before, or sometimes just because I don't want to forget. But I don't know. I like to write down, like you hear me talking a lot about placing your order instead of making wishes, right? Placing your order. So it's very much with intention. I like to put my order underneath my moon water, you know, especially if it's in a window, like I feel like it's infusing the water. What do you like to do with yours?
Yeah, I do that. And I carry it out very specially with me next to my heart and holding the intention in my mind. And what I usually do is I kind of swirl it to the left before I start with the intention of cleansing and starting from the beginning, especially with the new moon. And then I begin to swirl it to the right as I infuse my intention into it. And then I'll usually bring out whatever stones needs to be brought out. It's usually a rose quartz. But whatever you're holding for the intention, just make sure you include it in with the moon water. So, yeah.
So do you put it in your moon water or do you put it like next
sometimes.
to it?
Yep. Sometimes I'll put them all around it like an altar. Or sometimes I'll put them right in there. It depends on what I'm working with. If I've got some round, smooth, tumbled stones, you know, like the beautiful ones you can buy from your shop, I love putting those right in the water. And that helps to even further structure the water when you're pouring it and in and out of your, you know, whatever vessel you're using. But then like when I use my rose quartz is like this big. So I put that next to it and yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, but definitely include some stones. Yeah.
I never do that. I'm going to start doing that. You know, I was thinking like when I'm thinking all this Gemini energy and it's like Gemini's very vocal, right? And so for people who maybe aren't used to being able to speak up, maybe they could use some blue kyanite, right? That's like throat chakra.
Yeah, definitely for your throat chakra. Sure.
Yeah.
And the mantra I think is hum or yum. So look up whatever the mantra is and create a ceremony around it. You know, whatever elements that you can bring into that, what you just spoke of, you know, maybe, you know, something opening up and blue and
Right.
Yeah, bring
Interesting.
whatever elements you can into it. Bring it further. It doesn't have to be. You can just put your water out there and say, "I'm going to drink this moon water tomorrow." And
Right. And be
that's
simple
awesome
about it.
too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So, do you ever play like do you ever play like your singing bowls or anything to the moon water?
I haven't played it to the moon water, but I play it to my water. So there's no reason why you couldn't actually play it to the water and then put it outside. I mean, like I
Mm,
was saying, add all the elements you want to it. Um,
right.
Speaking of the throat chakra, I had taken my friend's water bottle before she flew to go see her mother. They were working on some stuff and wanted to work on their relationship again. And I took her water bottle and I put it inside the throat chakra singing bowl. And, I'm not saying it's because we sung that bowl, but she went off and she had a wonderful time with her water, and her mother talked, and they are best friends now.
Wow.
Um, so, never underestimate the power of the vibration of the singing bowls, what they can really do, because they
Right.
work hand in hand. I mean, we could go down the rabbit hole of how it affects the water, but I don't know if anybody's heard of cymatics, where they take the vibration and it makes the patterns in the water. It makes beautiful patterns, and some of them start looking like the chakras, like the energy wheels and stuff.
Yeah.
So, you can really be very intentful when you're using the bowls and water together.
And I guess that's kind of what I was feeling about putting the wishes underneath it, because you're putting your intention, especially if you can say them aloud too as you're getting close to the water. Because, what was that famous book where they showed water that was being spoken to and how it changed under
Oh
the
yeah,
microscope?
Dr. Emoto. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
always
Dr. Emoto.
found that
Yeah.
it's fascinating. So don't
Yeah,
forget the power of intention, right?
yes, and you use your words. Yes, and I mean, people talk about how the consciousness actually lives in the water. So if you're praying, make sure you're praying to your water. And I love
Wow.
how you brought up that book, because he doesn't get a lot of credit, and it's because he cherry picked the people that he wanted to use in his experiment. But the reason that he did that is because he wanted to make sure that they had their highest vibes, that these were aligned people that took, their spirituality and science seriously, and they weren't just like, you know doing whatever the hell they wanted to, and off hours. These people were picked because they were able to carry the intent this whole time. Because what you're talking about are the experiments where they would have one water bottle and the other water bottle, and they would say, "I love you so much," to this water, and the other one they would have to say, "I hate you," to. But he picked people that were able to tell this water, "I love you," every day, and this water, "I hate you," every day. And it's hard enough for ourselves to like drink water every day, so he picked very special people, and I think that the results that he got really show that.
Yeah, that's so
So it just
cool.
goes to show, like you're saying, the intent, and the words that you speak, it is so important. So yes, definitely speak those words and write them
S-
down, like you were saying,
Write them
underneath,
down.
and use it as
Yeah.
your mantra.
And place your order. Place your order in the most
Yes,
positive
I love
statement
that.
that you can, right? Most positive
Mm-hmm.
way, since we know how powerful words are.
Yeah.
So we start off the week of June 3rd. We're going to start with the moon in the sign of, well, it's in Aries technically, but by the time we wake up, it'll be in the sign of
Mm.
Taurus. Okay. So we start off grounded. We have Mercury, the planet of communication, moving into Gemini that morning also. All right. So
Mm.
that's going to give us the 5 planets. I wrote down for Monday the 3rd, put your mind on your money and your money on your mind. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a square going on with Pluto. Pluto rules combined monies and other people's money. It's like going through your bank statements, making sure there's no fraud, no anything like that, because the square with Pluto could be other people tapping into your funds. So keep an eye on your numbers, especially on June 3rd. Okay. On June 4th, the moon will continue to be in the sign of Taurus. So envision money flowing into your accounts, just flowing in with ease, right? And then we'll have the moon in Taurus on Wednesday the 5th also. But by early morning, we'll have the moon moving into Gemini as we get close to this new moon. Okay. Multitasking comes super easy. And for those of you like myself, like Nature by Nikki, who already are Gemini moons, who don't seem to have a problem with their throat chakra, or at least not underusing it, right? I definitely maybe a little overused. I'd stay away from the blue kyanite if you already are flowing in that way. You might want to
let other people do the talking.
Let other people do that. Yeah. So for us who are already a lot of air, we want to stay really grounded, right? Really careful with our words, choosing them wisely, right? Because it's very easy for things to just kind of fly out, right? Now, you might find that you're on the road. You might be inclined to get moving because Gemini is ruled by Mercury. And Mercury delivers information. So it rules the delivery of information. So it rules the roadways that things are brought to us, delivery. Okay. And it also rules neural pathways in the brain, delivery of information. Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's pretty cool, right? So
that is cool. Yeah.
This is a great week. Like if you've been putting off going to therapy, great week to jump back in. Talking is there. You're able to just go down those paths and get a lot up and out. Now, there's a big
have those hard conversations, maybe.
Right? I mean, the conversation will be flowing for sure.
It will. And I was just looking at Venus here on Friday with the stellium. It just, if you needed to have those hard conversations, it's kind of a nice time. If you are a Gemini moon like we are, it's nice to be able to have them and then let the other person talk, sort of, because it's, it's flowing.
It's flowing. And this could be a good time. If there's somebody that you need to tell them that you love them, you may really feel like I need to speak up and say so. This might be a good time for you. Okay, because the words are going to be flowing and you would be setting your intentions of what you want. Now, we do have a square with Saturn. Okay, so Saturn wants you to be responsible, to take care of all your responsibilities, to work hard to get those things done. You may even find that you're on the road for work. Some people, it's going to have themes of that. The square. So there's kind of this 90-degree angle, right? Where things are kind of button heads. So this is not the time to go smack talking to your boss or arguing with your clients or arguing with the IRS, right? Because all those things of responsibility are going to hit. So just be aware of that. Now, if you're ready to tell someone you love them, great. Remember that the moon is close to Venus, but it also has Mercury with it. And then even though Jupiter and Uranus are a little bit farther out in degree, they're all kind of scrunched together. So I see them all working together. So that's 6 planets. 6 planets. So once you start something, once you start the words flowing, it's going to bounce off all those planets. Okay. Now, there's kind of a trine with Pluto. I'm calling it a trine. And Pluto, to me, even though it's Scorpio energy and it can, people think about the death part of Pluto, they forget about the power part of Pluto and they forget that it rules sex. So there's a trine there with Pluto. So when it's good, it's going to be good. And so maybe it's time to, maybe you've been waiting a while to tell someone how you feel, or maybe there's a conversation that you need to have, but there's also some sexy energy available.
Oh yeah, we'll ride that wave.
Yeah,
Isn't Pluto
mark your
also
calendar.
Yeah, right? Isn't Pluto also transformation too? So
absolutely.
So it sounds like, like you were saying, if you want to tell someone you love them, that new moon is a really great time to tell them and start placing that order about, what you want to transform this this sexual relationship into being, maybe. I
Absolutely.
like that.
But remember that you better mean it, because Saturn's there. And if you don't meet,
Uh,
don't go yanking somebody's chain about loving them, because it's going to come back
mm.
and it's going to hold you accountable.
All right. Just like you say, when you place your order, don't order something that you're not going to eat. Like when you're at the restaurant, don't order something just because, oh, that looks good. When it's
Right.
served to you, are you going to eat that?
Right.
So
Don't waste anybody's
don't
time. Don't
waste.
waste anybody's energy. So then we move into, now remember, this month for most of it's not most of the month, but it's about the 3rd through the 12th. Venus is going to be square Saturn also. So
okay.
again, let's not, Gemini's kind of known, I guess I can say this because we're Gemini moons. Gemini's known sometimes to be a little bit of the player. It's a lot of
flirt.
right. A lot of a lot of tarot readers associate the magician to Gemini, kind of the trickster, right?
Yep.
So if you think you're going to get away with that this month with the square with Saturn, I don't think so. Things are going to catch up. So just hold your words with people, hold to your responsibilities, what you promised people, so that square can actually be a zesting. Sheila, how you taught me that it can zest. And I like that if it hits just right instead of headbutting, right?
Yeah, instead of a collision, you're just kind of, just rubbing off some of the good stuff.
Right. Just like a little reminder. Cool. Oh, remember you said, and you were going to do that kind of stuff. All right. So Friday the 7th, we have a square going on with Neptune. So anytime Neptune's involved, things aren't going to be clear. Things are going to be foggy. Okay. But if we're talking love and I think Neptune's romance too.
Oh, okay.
Could be delusional romance, but it's romance.
Yeah.
So there we are on Friday the 7th. Move slowly, move intentionally, watch your words. Mean them, mean your words. Then we have the weekend. The weekend, the moon will be mostly in the sign of Cancer because it moves into Cancer at 8:41 a.m. on Friday the 7th. I love a Cancer weekend. How about you?
Yeah, I love a Cancer moon. I don't know. I dip right into it.
Yeah. It's, water signs in general need more rest. Cancer rules the home and nurturing yourself and, like a good meal and just making everything
soak in
comfy.
The hot tub.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's never a bad day for that.
Yeah, it sounds like our kind of weekend.
Yeah, so Friday the 7th. So just move slowly. Things are foggy, but go slow anyways. The moon's in Cancer. The weekend, we have Venus is still square Saturn, but there is a trine with Saturn on Saturday the 8th. Just make sure you take care of your responsibilities and then be able to enjoy. Anytime Saturn's involved, there's some form of a responsibility. Maybe you have a family responsibility. Cancer does rule the mother or the nurturing parent, so maybe you have a responsibility in that way. But take care of those things and then just really savor, slow down, and enjoy the watery weekend. Especially Sunday the 9th. Rest in the morning. See if you can sleep in. Mars, the planet of action, is going to leave its own sign of Aries and it's going to move into Taurus. So I feel like it kind of slows down a little.
Thank God.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like we've been going pretty fast here. We need some Taurus energy.
Yeah, I feel like I wasn't even drinking coffee. I was a tea drinker for a while, and I've just been drinking coffee. I'm blaming Mars in Aries.
It's funny you say that because I've been drinking coffee too, and I can't drink coffee, but there was a couple of mornings there where I drank coffee, and I was like, okay, yeah, this matches the speed that I'm at right now. So
yeah, so it'll be nice, I think, to have.
There, but
it'll be nice to have Mars in Taurus because I think anything in Taurus is a beautiful thing. It's a Venus sign.
Me too.
Right?
Yeah.
And so Mars, the planet of action, entering a sign that rules relationships It rules
Mm.
jewelry. I can see some people
Mm.
getting engaged. I really can.
Ah,
Um, it's just beauty.
nice.
It's
Yeah, I
also
like that.
right? It's a
Yeah.
beautiful time to like cook a nice meal, have a beautiful
Mm-hmm.
day at home on
Mm-hmm.
Sunday.
Enjoy the little luxuries. Slow down, with the family, or, maybe take a bath or something,
Yeah.
just something luxurious that's means something to you,
Yeah, and since we
something
started off the
homey.
week, something homey, we started off the week saying, like, keep your mind on your money, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then Mars moving into a Taurus, which is associated with your wallet. So maybe it
Mm.
is really time to think about, like, what really brings you joy? I think for me, it's just the simple things. I mean, I love the fancy
Mm-hmm.
things too, to a point, but like a nice meal at home, a nice, you know, dip your feet into some water, go to a
Mm-hmm.
nearby lake or something. The weather's getting warm.
Yeah,
That's
have a
that's
fire outside after dinner, or cook your dinner
beautiful.
outside or something. It's time. It's time to get out there
It's
in nature and
time. It's the
watch the
season.
sunset or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and
The
like
simple
lots
things.
so many plants are coming up outside. I mean, what would you be
Yes.
harvesting? Like nettles, or is
Well,
nettles
nettles
gone
is a
by
little bit
June?
kind of a little past for us, but one of the cards I actually did pull it for this week was the red clover. And I
Red
got it out of the
clover.
herb crafter's deck, and it was red clover. And I thought, well, that's perfect because the red clover is going to be jamming. I mean, the fields are going to be full of the red clover. So
Beautiful.
red
And
clover is just, yeah.
what do you
Well,
use
it's
it
just
for?
beautiful to eat. It's so beautiful to eat. So you can pluck the little blossoms. And do you ever remember as you were a kid, did you ever take the little clover blossoms, the little purple part, take it out and suck the little bit of honey at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a nice simple thing. But they're really edible, and you can actually eat a lot of them too. If you pluck a lot of those heads, you can just soak them, and then like you can boil them, make them like you would a pot of beans or something.
Really?
They're really yummy, and I like to pluck them and use them for tea too.
Okay. Is it like calming? Because it seems to me that it would be like it's sweet. Do you think is it calming?
Yeah, actually, it's well, I mean, I'm not a doctor, but
Yeah.
working with plants, red clover is really good for women, and it's really good for emotions and hormones. And I actually was just reading a study this morning about how good red clover is for women psychologically. And I
Ooh.
thought, well, yeah, duh. I know that already because we've been using it for our hormones, and we've been using it as just a nice soothing tea. Um,
Oh.
so
Okay.
it's
Um,
it's really just wonderful to supplement in when the season's on. So June, they're going to be all over the place. So another thing you can do too is you can make salve out of it. I've never actually made the salve or used it, but it's really good and soothing for your skin.
okay.
So take advantage of the red clover when it's up. Just pick it.
Can you eat it raw? Can you put it
Oh
like in
yeah.
a salad? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, right? So pluck
Ooh.
those the little blossoms, and take them out of the head. Take all the little blossoms out and sprinkle those
Okay.
on your salad, and even the little leaves too. Put those in your salad and make it pretty.
Fabulous.
Make it as a
Ooh, I love it.
garnish.
I'm excited. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why don't we pick a couple cards then for this new moon week and see what else our listeners need to know.
Yeah. Are you going to pick some tarot cards?
Yep. Do you want to go ahead and
Okay.
start with
Wonderful.
yours?
Well, I already had picked that. I picked the red clover. Um,
Cool.
and I thought it was kind of funny that that came out of the deck at
Oh,
it was a
yeah.
perfect time. What is red clover? Let's see. In this, it's 10 of water. We were just talking about all the water signs. So it's the 10 of water in the Herb Crafters deck. And they're actually doing exactly what we talked about. They've picked all of the blossoms, and they're in the spoon there, the little
Yeah.
blossoms. And they've also harvested the heads and dried them, and they're in the mason jar. And
Beautiful.
then it looks like they're making tea in the background there. But red clover is just so abundant, and 10 of water. I mean, isn't that like 10 abundance, right?
10 of water. Yeah. 10 of emotion. I think that's traditionally called the happy family card.
Yeah, you can make, your family dinner just so special by just walking out, just a few minutes before you're ready to serve dinner, and go pick a few flowers and just sprinkle them over dinner,
Beautiful.
Just make it
Beautiful.
special. Very easy.
Do you have another card for us?
Oh, I do actually. I picked the rose card.
The rose card. Okay.
The rose is the empress in this deck.
How pretty.
Yeah, and the wild roses will be flowering this month. And if you've never smelled those wild roses, go smell them. There's nothing like a wild rose. And then this little bead here, this necklace that you see, those are actually rose hips that have been dried and then strung together, almost like mala beads.
Oh, yeah. How pretty. I love that deck.
Yeah. I
It's so
love this
nice.
deck. Yeah. And I just love rose. I love rose so much. And we're so blessed here in the East to have this wild rose that just grows abundantly. What do we call it here? Multifloral rose. People look at it as a weed, but oh my goodness, when it's jamming, it smells so yummy. And I'd love to make all kinds of medicines out of it. Yeah.
Fabulous. You're going to have to show me that one.
Yeah.
I don't know if I know wild rose. Interesting.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good. We'll have to go smell it.
Yeah. So you got the 10 of Cups and the Empress. How beautiful is that?
And the Empress. Yeah,
Gorgeous.
that's the number 3. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I picked I think this is the King of Wands, a Fire King. Okay. So, I'm trying to see here. Do we have any planets in fire signs? Mars will be moving into Gemini. So we only have the transiting North Node in a fire sign and nothing else in a fire sign. Interesting.
Wow.
So we're low on fire. So we need a little spice, right? So so the King of Wands is showing up. He's the world traveler. He's the king of passion. So you may want to bring in some fire elements, like you were saying, maybe having like a little fire after dinner. When we're low on an element, we're going to need to bring it in some way, right? So if you look at your chart, right, I know I have no air or no earth in my chart. So it's really important for me to connect with, thank goodness I have 2 earth signs in my family, help keep me grounded, right? So with no fire in the chart right now, you're going to want to bring in the fire element, whether it be a candle, bonfire, like you said. It could even be a little bit of spicy food, or it could be like diffusing cinnamon oil, something like that.
And our deep breathing is coming to mind too, like the breath of fire. Do some breath work. Might be a nice time to slow down and really focus on that. And we think about slowing down to do the breath work, but slow down and do that fire breath. Really get some of that kundalini flowing.
Oh, that's such a good point. Thank you. Especially with it being so much Gemini air. It's like breath. Yes.
Yeah, right. Take a breath.
Take a breath.
Yeah.
Sometimes I forget. All right. Here's the 4 of Wands, which is my other card. And there's the simple pleasures, I guess, the joy, right? They're dancing. There's a celebration. They're taking the time to enjoy it. So beautiful cards for this first week of June.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like, take it easy, get out there and enjoy it.
Enjoy it while it's here.